Patagonia, oh Patagonia, Patagonia, we love you.
Alright, that's the last show in Ramadan, I guess. So we need to be like more calm, more peaceful, whatever. Need to contemplate. We need to talk. It's a beautiful night, and I want to talk to you about different things. But before I forget, before I talk about like contemplations and self-awareness and self-indulgence and all those great things and strange situations you go through, still even with the curfews, with the lockdown, with everything, like you go through certain situations you cannot forget. But the first thing I need to remember to tell you right now, it's about this thing, the sleeper effect. Sleeper effect, in very simple terms, after a while, when you keep repeating the same thing, the good and the bad become very similar. The impact of both is the same. So this is why they bring lousy, for example, actors or actresses or TV announcers or show hosts, and they keep them on air once, twice, a million times until you get used to them. And after a while, ugliness is similar to beauty in your eyes. Both of them have the same effect. You get used to them. That's the worst thing ever. That's why after so many years of watching certain show hosts where we think that they're really ugly, they have no value whatsoever, their voice is so loud, they're actually acting or doing anything except presenting shows. After a while, you find someone telling you, well, they're really good, actually. They're really talented the way they're doing it. No, they're not talented. They destroyed your thoughts. They distorted your proper thinking and concept of good media. Now that's something big, and we're going there every day because it's the power of money once again. But who am I or who are you to stop in front of this thing or try to stop it or resist it or whatever? You're going to believe in it after a while. I'm still saying I don't want to believe in it, but it kills me every day I see it or hear listen to it. It's Patagonia too. That's Khaled Habib. So tonight is about contemplations, all situations you've been through. And last week I had the situation where somebody called me and then they said, we want you. There's this company, they want you for 15 or 20 minutes to do something like this conference call. You know, the video things all over the world right now happening everywhere. They want you to talk to the whole company. They're over like 400 people or something. They want you with them. Just 15 minutes. So how much would you charge for that? So I was thinking like, okay, usually in 1 full hour, I take, for example, £1. So over here, it's 15 minutes. I'm going to take 25%. And then I was thinking, I'm not supposed to ask for this money or what? But because I'm on air, I'm staying at home, online. Then I said, but even at home, you're going to be more enthusiastic because you want to bridge the gap. Because you're not like animated in front of them walking on the stage or something. It's going to take more effort from you to influence them and so on. So I say, all right, I give them this figure. They never come back. And I feel so ugly and I feel lousy. And then you think, but that's what you think you believe in. That's what your worth is. So you need to respect your capabilities. Now we come to think sometimes people would pay like hundreds of thousands just to have a lady or a guy who have no value whatsoever stand there and say hi, a big hi. And they would like keep smiling and dancing and taking photos, and that's the end of it. Well, if you're adding real value, you're going to do something to motivate people to change their mindset, to change the way they think about life, to make them happier somehow or more motivated. It's worth more. If they don't feel the value, you're not going to do it. As simple as that. Some thoughts for the night. It's still Patagonia too. And then there was this other situation. I was like in a certain like tender. We're making a presentation, and I went there. There was this guy. It's so big governmental things. So we're going in a group of companies, a consortium all together, like sharing their presentations and so on. So my part, I'm responsible for the HR and organization design. It was the last part of the presentation, and this guy officially is a very senior guy. He jumped in attacking everyone, very tough. until my part came. He didn't want to listen to it in the beginning, so I was a bit provoked because the guy was too aggressive without logic sometimes. And so I raised my hand and I said, "Sir, I have to say my part." And I was a bit aggressive. So the guy smiled and said, "Yeah, of course, we're going to listen to you." And I spoke for 10 minutes, like not making fun, but really criticizing everything I've been listening to and telling them, like, you're wasting the country's money in a million projects similar to this one because you're giving the money and everything to people who don't have any practical knowledge. They're all theoretic, they're all, I'm sorry to say, phonies, and you know that. And I said this and I explained the Armada and everything, and in the end the guy had no questions whatsoever. He says, "I'm totally satisfied with what I heard." Now I leave the meeting, and then like 2 hours later, the big company leading our consortium, the guy calls me and then he says, "By the way, you're right in everything he said. By the way, this big official was telling us that it was a catastrophe last time. You didn't win with your company. We gave the contract to another company. Until now, they're suffering from that because they're doing so and so wrong." So in the evening, I call a friend who works in a very senior position and I tell him, "I heard this today about this contract and it was ugly. Why do you do this, guys? It's for the country's interest when you do the right thing." So he calls me and then he says, like, "Can I tell you a secret? Well, there's this other contract. You did not get it also. We gave it to another company, and then this other company are really taking us to a huge problem we can never handle because it turns out they have no practical experience whatsoever." And I was thinking I'm going to send the message to the minister who's responsible on personal basis, telling him, "You're wasting the country's money." But then I said, if I do that, he's never going to respond. He's going to take it personal. He's going to defend every opinion or decision he has taken, and that's going to be the end of it. And I keep wondering, why do they do that? Because they would tell you, like, nah, you're not good as you think and whatever. But that time, they were coming back to you and telling you, we made the wrong decision. So when are you going to do the right decision? I don't think they're going to ever do that. I'm going to quit this story. I'm going to tell you about more things I want to quit, but that's a beautiful night still. Because I'm sharing it with you. It's a beautiful night and it's Patagonia too. So I have this decision now, and I'm really thinking I want to stop doing everything that can be under criticism. I don't want to be criticized because it's really painful. Whenever you do anything that is like, it's not a tangible product, it's not something like, for example, even a tangible product, sometimes you get people criticizing it, giving their opinions, food or whatever, but then they're not going to be criticizing you. But whatever you do in terms of intellectual work, like thinking, like presenting something, like writing, like training, you're going to have people criticizing everything you do and every breath you take. Not like the romantic song, Every Breath You Take. But that's how it is. And now, you know, of course, for people who are going to be listening on the internet, on YouTube, that the show is totally about Sting songs. I cannot put you the list of songs, guys and ladies, but that's the way it is. Going to be totally Sting tonight. So everything you do is being criticized when it's not tangible, it's intangible. It is debatable. I don't want to be there. I decided I want to stop everything like that. Even if I stop the radio, I already stopped. I'm just doing my own like contemplations with you, ladies and gentlemen, over here, and some very simple things. I want to stop the training things and everything because people really criticize even if they have no clue what they're listening to. Maybe they know better than you, and since they know better than you should stop. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop anything with criticism. And it's Patagonia too. So tell me about this moment when you feel like, I cannot take it anymore. You know this feeling I've been telling you about before? When you're filling this kettle with water and then you start heating it. And it's a very big kettle of water. It's been there for ages. Like, that's a relation that's been there for 20 years. And you keep like heating it. You imagine you're heating a big sea of water. It takes a very long time. Slowly, but it is warming up. Heating a bit by bit. Until it reaches a stage very close to boiling. And then all over the years, you've been like trying to control it, trying to give messages, signals for people, some all around you, telling them, guys, can you help cool it down a bit? Can you take care of what you're doing? You're not stopping this heating, this warming is gonna explode, whatever. But they notice and they do nothing about it. They think you're bluffing. Till there comes the moment the water simply boils and the kettle explodes. Now the problem is when it explodes, you cannot cool down. It doesn't take a minute or half an hour a day. it's gonna take like 20 years, similar to the 20 years you were boiling step by step. People don't realize this. They think you're crazy. What made you explode all of a sudden? But they've never really thought about it, that you've been like warming up a bit by bit over the years, and that's really ugly. Now, it happened with me several times over the past few years, and every time I reached an end of the road thing, and I don't want to go back once again. Now, the problem is I really shut down to the extent I don't want anything to do with these people anymore. It's not that easy, but it's even easier for me not to talk to them than to confront, because I made the boiling thing, I made the explosion, and then even if they take it easy and okay, and we're going to be around, no, you're not around in my life anymore. Now, that's another thing. Sometimes you need to explode, and that's the end of the road. Just remember, you're not going to go back the same road again, ever. It's Patagonia too. And still with these thoughts and whatever, and then there are so many people around you who will always make you feel so small and so little. They're gonna make fun of everything you do. They're gonna try to play games with you and show you that your work is not that good and whatever. And then I learned by time never to take one person's opinion as if it is the opinion. I have my own mind, and I have my benchmarks, and I have my own criteria and quality terms. So everybody has their own quality levels, and we need to assess with our own selves first before assessing with others. We need to make sure that we are following certain criteria and guidelines before we get slapped on the face by somebody who has no clue what we've been through, and then they would simply tell you you're good or you're bad. Now, the worst thing ever is that we look or seek acceptance from other people, or we look into ourselves by looking in the mirrors of other people. Your best mirror is yourself, your own work, and that's the problem. Sometimes people go far with the awareness, the self-awareness. It's a bit painful, and sometimes people go the other direction totally. They never see anything they do as wrong. Everything I do is right. Both are wrong. But what's really good is to be realistic, to accept criticism from yourself before anybody else, to accept that you're human, you're going to make mistakes, put benchmarks and figures and numbers and milestones for everything you do, compare with people similar to you, how far you're doing, how good you're doing, how far did you go compared to what you should have been doing, how far you should have been going. I'm saying so many things. I hope you can listen to it. That's the beauty of it when it's recorded. You can listen to it once again. It's going to be on YouTube, on my page on Facebook, Khaled Habib, and also on Tafa'el. I'm going to put it also on Tafa'el. So take your time and listen to it, but then you need to put your own criteria before you are somehow I don't want you to be bullied by others, because I've been in this situation so many times in my life, and it doesn't look like bullying. It looks as if people are they're advising you, they're caring for you, they're telling you, don't worry, but don't do this. No, I care for you. Don't ever say this again, because they're going to laugh at you. Well, actually, maybe I need to say this, even if they're going to laugh, because they're going to be losing in the end, because I believe in what I'm saying. People are going to listen to you in the end. So don't make your mirror other people. Your mirror is yourself, your own criteria, your own benchmarks, your own work, and as long as you're giving it your best, don't worry at all. That's from Papa Khaled. I'm not going to play this Papa Door, this Papa thing a lot. Papa Door, which means the role of a Papa. I said in Arabic and English at the same time. I'm sorry for that. Another song coming your way, and it's still sing tonight. Now, one of the sweetest things of the lockdown, if we have a lockdown, we don't really have a lockdown, is that you look into your old records and you look into names of people who have been in your life, and you check your Facebook account and how many names out there and whatever. And you realize, oh God, this person was so close to me. They're not here anymore. What's the story? And then you realize that life takes people apart. And that's normal. It happens all the time. And only the people who are so close to each other. I've been and with so many difficult situations this month with illnesses for both my kids and myself too, and so on. And I was handling, and I have a couple of friends, one specific friend, his name is Hatem Isa, he's a great guy. We call him the Emperor, or George Sank, because he's so classy all the time. His father was a great ambassador also, very, very well brought up and so on. And he simply, without making any fuss, every other day he calls just to check on me. As simple as that. So there are people who are going to be with you all the time, regardless, without thinking about anything. They deserve to be different. They don't make a point. They don't want to make a fuss about it. They're doing it part of their normal life. This is how you respect people. That's how you love people. People who are going to be with you no matter how things change or no matter how time flies or whatever. They're the people in your heart. You're going to look for those people all the time. Patagonia too. I can still tell you that the most difficult thing ever is waiting. And when you wait for certain things, especially when they're not in your control, you feel so small and so vulnerable and so modest. ليس لك من الأمر شيء. You have nothing in your hands. So you keep praying. With the prayers, you have all those fears. With the fears, you try to replace them with hopes and more prayers. But then you're in a certain time where you cannot get rid of the negative thoughts by playing sport, for example. And even if you go walking or jogging, it's not as engaging as competitive sport as tennis or football or whatever. So you feel, I cannot stop the windmills of my mind. You can listen to this song, or maybe you already listened to it today. So it's not that easy to surrender. I keep remembering this great book by Jeffrey Lang, The Struggle to Surrender. It's a struggle to surrender. Although surrendering seems to be a very easy thing, simply, okay, I let go. But you're really struggling because you're thinking most of the time, I'm strong, I'm powerful, I control my world, I'm the master of my own domain. I'm not. It turns out to be that I'm very small and I cannot do that. And sometimes you feel so helpless, and then you keep expecting the worst, and then you say, but I don't want it to happen. I just want to see the good things. I wish life would be that easy. Every time I'm going to have something negative, something positive. That's the way life is. And every time is going to be a test for you to thank God or to be really bad about it. And we hope and we pray that we're going to be good about that and always be grateful for whatever comes our way. I'm turning so melancholic right now. It's the end of the show and the end of Ramadan and so many things. Maybe another song can change the mood. Alright, and this is the end of the line for me. I'm sorry if I kept you waiting so long and so many strange things I've said today. Some of them will touch upon things in your heart and in your life and in your mind. Maybe it's going to work for you. Or you're going to tell yourself, now this guy is saying nonsense, I know my way, I'm controlling everything. But remember, none of us really controls anything. It's totally in God's hands. But we play our part, and sometimes we don't know how to play, and sometimes we don't realize we're playing our part. Sometimes we think we control everything, and this is when we really lose. Anyhow, take care of yourself. Don't talk to strangers. It's a beautiful night. Have a great Eid, inshallah. Hopefully, by now, everything is really getting better in our country and the whole world, inshallah, is going to open up. You keep thinking for the good things. It's about optimism once again. Take care of yourself. My name is Khaled Habib, and that was Patagonia too.